says that you should not deal with emotions when it comes to real estate investing. Okay, well, to some degree that's true because it's kind of about the numbers and finances and all that. But guess what? We're human. There's going to be emotions, and especially if you're just getting started as a brand new real estate investor, oh, trust me, you're going to have emotions. It's scary. So, if you're new into investing and maybe you've already experienced some emotions trying to do it, smash that like button. Okay, here's what I'm going to offer you in this video. I'm going to give you the 3 biggest emotions that I see as challenges for new investors. I'm going to give you the solution to each one, and then I'm going to give you a couple additional resources to help you. I don't want you not getting into real estate because you're hitting emotional challenges, so let's knock these out. Okay, get your pen and paper ready. Emotional challenge number 1 for new investors. Fear. Duh. It's kind of scary. Most of us didn't learn much about this in school. We don't really know who we should trust or who we shouldn't. It's kind of the wild, wild west out there. And all the while, we're probably going to be putting a lot of money down on something. It's natural to be fearful. But what can you do about it? The solution to the fear part of this is education on 2 things. Number 1, your mindset. And number 2, the actual strategy in which you're trying to pursue. On the mindset front, what's the most common fear? Fear of failure. Okay, well maybe we work to redefine failure. What does failure actually mean? How do we handle failure? What if failure happens? When you get education on that, suddenly fear of failure is a little more manageable because failure is more manageable. Then, education on the actual strategy that you're pursuing, here's 2 things that you should really learn about and should help with your fear. The general strategy. What does it take to be successful in that strategy? If you know what makes for a successful property in the strategy that you're doing, that's something to aim for. And then, what are the specific risks? If you can say, oh yeah, this strategy, here are the common risks, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's how I mitigate them. When you've suddenly identified all of the possible risk points of a strategy or of a property or whatever you're doing, and you know the mitigations for those, suddenly you've taken your power back. You are now in control of things. You may not be able to help necessarily when things are going to happen, or maybe something's still going to go bust, but you now have the tools in your tool belt to deal with it. So the solution to fear is knowledge. If you're fearful, yeah, don't get me wrong, some general anxiety is totally normal, but if fear is stopping you, if you're in analysis paralysis, for example, you might need more education, because the more education you get, the more manageable it becomes. Okay, enough with this fear bit. Let's get past fear. What's the second emotional challenge that a lot of investors experience? And this one is probably the one I hear the most right now. Overwhelm. Right? You Google how to be a real estate investor and what happens? Too much information. Everybody's talking. This guy says one thing. This guy says something that's opposite. This guy says he's wrong. You got to do this. You got to do that. Don't do that. And everyone's messages are mixed. The good news is there's so much information out there today. The bad news is there's so much information out there today. It's too much information and it's creating overwhelm in people. Naturally, how do you know how to navigate any of that? So how do you solve overwhelm? What I say to people, clear out the noise. Just start slowly. You've got to start figuring out what pieces you need and what pieces you don't, and clear out the extra noise that's not helping you. I know this doesn't sound completely clear, but fortunately I have a video called The Overwhelm Epidemic. That's how serious I think this thing is. I'm going to link to it below, so if you're experiencing any overwhelm, make sure to check out that video because I dive in more to what I mean about clearing out the noise and how to properly navigate that overwhelm. So check out that video. Number 3, emotional challenges for real estate investors. Confusion. Now, confusion is pretty similar to that overwhelm thing we just talked about. But overwhelm is one thing, just feeling overwhelmed. But when you have that much information, even if you're not feeling overwhelmed, it might just be flat out confusing. So you may have overwhelm with confusion, or you may just have flat out confusion. So what do you do about the confusion? The answer to this is very similar to the overwhelm. First, check out that same video, the Overwhelm Epidemic, because even if you're not feeling as much overwhelm, but you are feeling confused, the solution is the same. Clear out the noise, start sorting through things, and organize everything. In addition to checking out the video and dealing with it with the solution that applies to overwhelm, for confusion in particular, get a mentor. Because even if you start sorting out through all the information, you've got all that information you just gathered from Google or wherever, you still may not know, do I listen to this guy or this guy? Or, okay, cool, I got through all the noise, like I've kind of got stuff, but I'm still confused. This is a confusing industry. Get a mentor, somebody who has already been down this road, who you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel. They can help you clarify, yes, definitely listen to this guy or watch out for this guy. Or maybe we don't know which guy to listen to. Here are the things you should look out for and look for. So, similar to overwhelm, check out that video and get a mentor. Now, we've hit fear, overwhelm, confusion. Does that about sum them up? Hit the like button, and if you can think of an emotional challenge that you're experiencing as a new investor, and I didn't cover that in that list, throw it in the comments. Tell us what you're feeling, because chances are somebody else is feeling it too. Now, 2 more resources for you that will help you with all of those. Number 1 is my book. Not to pitch my own book here, but it's called Not Your How-To Guide to Real Estate Investing, Life Lessons on Hacking Your Mind Before You Hack Your Wallet. I specifically wrote this book to try to help you sort through the confusion. It hits overwhelm, it hits things like fear of failure. It's more of a mindset book. There's a million how-to guides, how to flip properties, how to wholesale, how to be a landlord. Great, those are awesome. But for the emotional challenges and the hardship of getting started as an investor, this book, I literally wrote it to help you with that. It hits all of those pain points. So check out the link below to that book. And then also, I am a real estate investing coach. And I would say probably 60% of the people I work with are in that overwhelm phase, or they're trying to get started. They can't figure out which way is up. They can't quite get there. The other 40% are already investing, but they've also butted up against some challenge, which is creating the same emotions. Fear, maybe not, but overwhelm or confusion. At a minimum, confusion. They just can't figure out the best next step. So check out the video below where I talk more about how I coach and see if it might be a fit for you. Okay, the good news is you are not alone in this. We all go through these emotions as investors, not even just getting started, but once we keep going, it's ongoing learning. You are in good company, and I will see you on the next video.